The Opus LabraFix system from ArthraCare is a highly innovative and unique system designed for labral repair. The system consists of two enabling devices, the Speed Stitch suturing device and the Mini Magnum implant. The Speed Stitch is an integrated grasper and suturing device that allows the surgeon to place a stitch in the labrum in less than 5 seconds, even in hard-to-reach areas of the labrum. The Mini Magnum implant is activated after insertion into the bone and achieves a bone lock with unparalleled pull-out strength. Next, the tension lock cinching mechanism of the Mini Magnum applies and maintains tension on the sutures. Finally, the Mini Magnum's completely knotless suture lock is engaged, eliminating the need for complex knot tying maneuvers and residual knot towers. The result is a high-quality labral repair that is achieved with a fast, simple, and consistent procedure. The Speed Stitch suturing device consists of two parts, the reusable Speed Stitch handle and the disposable needle cassette. In addition, the suture material is provided in a pre-packaged suture cartridge. The suture material is provided in two colors to facilitate suture management. The suture material used is Magnum wire, a high-tensile strength braided polyethylene suture. The Mini Magnum implant features a bone lock that is deployed after insertion into the bone. Each Mini Magnum implant comes preloaded on a disposable inserter handle. In addition, the LabraFix system comes with a 3mm drill bit, a slotted drill guide with a sharp-tipped obturator, and a pathfinder. The LabraFix instrumentation is provided in an autoclavable instrument tray. At the beginning of the procedure, the needle loader is removed from its sterile packing. To couple the needle with the Speed Stitch handle, first squeeze the silver tissue jaw lever of the Speed Stitch and insert the cylindrical end of the loader over the telescoping jaw of the Speed Stitch. Push the loader until its plastic tabs lock into the slots on the sides of the barrel of the Speed Stitch. While holding the needle loader in place, squeeze the gold needle driver lever. This will load the needle and eject the loader cartridge, or you may squeeze the tabs to disengage the loader cartridge. Check the coupling by actuating both levers of the Speed Stitch handle. The silver tissue jaw lever operates the jaw of the Speed Stitch's grasper. To unlock the tissue jaw lever, depress the ratchet release lever at the base of the tissue jaw lever. The gold lever operates the suture needle. Next, remove a suture cartridge from its sterile packaging and carefully insert it into the underside of the Speed Stitch barrel, taking care to avoid kinking of the plastic tube. The suture cartridge is locked in place when the metal tabs insert into the slots on the sides of the Speed Stitch barrel. Tug on the metal end to confirm coupling. If the suture cartridge is loosed once connected, bend the suture cartridge wings away from the body of the suture. The Speed Stitch is now ready to use. The patient is prepared in the standard manner for arthroscopic labral repair, either in the lateral or the beach chair position. This patient needs a labral repair. The labrum margin is removed from the glenoid and prepared for repair. The Speed Stitch, with the loaded needle and suture cartridge, is introduced through the anterior portal, using an 8.2 mm or greater cannula if desired. The labral tissue is grasped using Speed Stitch's grasper. This usually requires a 90-degree rotation. The tissue jaw lever will automatically lock. If necessary, the tissue jaw lever may be released using the ratchet release lever. The suture needle is then deployed by a single complete squeeze of the gold needle driver lever, followed by a gentle release. The suture is captured by the needle hook and pulled through the labrum tissue. The tissue jaw is then released using the ratchet release lever, and the Speed Stitch is withdrawn from the shoulder, completing the first stitch. The suture is disengaged from the needle by partially squeezing the gold needle driver lever and pulling the suture laterally. The expended suture cartridge is then removed from the Speed Stitch by pushing in on the slots on the barrel of the Speed Stitch and pulling out the suture cartridge. At this time, the hook of the needle should be checked and any soft tissue or suture remnants removed. The speed stitch is loaded with a new suture cartridge for the next stitch. The second and third stitches are placed in a similar manner. All stitches should be placed first before any mini magnum implants are inserted. The sutures can be left in the anterior portal or shuttled into an accessory portal to facilitate suture management. Through the same portal, insert the LabraFix drill guide with sharp-ended obturator. The tip of the drill guide should be at the side of the drill hole. By tapping on the proximal end of the obturator, a starter hole may be created. Drill hole placement should be 2 mm from the glenoid rim. Drilling perpendicular is not required, but drilling too shallow may lead to the drill walking on the articular surface or a superficially placed implant. A spinal needle may be used to ensure that a good angle can be achieved before the portal is created. The obturator is removed and the LabraFix drill bit is inserted through the drill guide. Maintaining a good drill angle, the hole is drilled up to the collar. The drill is removed and the Mini Magnum Pathfinder is inserted into the drill hole to maintain the hole position and alignment in preparation for the Mini Magnum implant. Next, the two limbs of the suture are threaded through the distal snare wire loop of the Mini Magnum. The distal snare ring is then pulled off, loading the suture into the Mini Magnum. The length of the suture is adjusted by pulling the suture towards the handle so that approximately 2 inches extend from the distal end of the implant. The suture knobs on the Mini Magnum inserter handle are then rotated in the direction of the arrows, taking up suture slack. Avoid pulling the snared suture away from the handle, as it may snare the suture on the anchor, creating shearing of the suture. The Pathfinder is removed from the drill guide and the Mini Magnum is inserted following the alignment of the drilled hole. The vertical laser mark on the anchor inserter shaft should be aligned opposite the labrum, with the suture facing the labrum. The suture limbs are initially held away from the slot in the drill guide. As inserted, more slack is taken up and the sutures are allowed to fall into the slot. Using the drill guide allows for easier suture management. Suture tensioning should be completed with the Mini Magnum resting just outside the drill hole to ensure that a suture limb is not inadvertently drawn into the drill hole. Once the suture is tensioned, the Mini Magnum is inserted into the pre-drilled hole while holding down the ratchet release button at the proximal end of the inserter handle. The Mini Magnum should be inserted until the horizontal laser mark of the inserter shaft is fully seated on the bone surface. Next, the Mini Magnum implant is deployed with a single squeeze of the black hand lever. The Mini Magnum's bone purchase should be verified with a gentle tug. Using both hands, the suture knobs are further rotated to finally adjust tissue tension, cinching the sutures to bring the labral margin toward the implant site. The knobs are turned until adequate tension is applied to the repair. If excessive suture tension has been applied, the ratchet release button at the proximal end of the Mini Magnum inserter handle can be held down and the tension released using a hooked probe. The tension can then be reapplied as necessary. Once satisfactory tension is achieved, the suture lock button on the side of the Mini Magnum inserter handle is pressed inward. The Mini Magnum's knotless suture lock is then deployed with a series of 3 squeezes of the black handle lever. The Mini Magnum inserter handle is then withdrawn and discarded and the sutures trimmed. The next set of sutures is similarly loaded into a new Mini Magnum and the insertion process is repeated to complete the repair. The traction weights are removed and the arm is adducted and rotated to inspect the repair. Once the procedure is complete, the disposable needle should be removed using the clear needle extractor. To do this, first squeeze the silver tissue jaw lever of the speed stitch and insert the tail of the extractor over the telescoping jaw of the speed stitch. Push the loader until its plastic tabs lock into the slots on the sides of the barrel of the speed stitch. While holding the needle extractor in place, squeeze the gold needle driver lever. This will disengage the needle and eject the extractor cartridge, or you may squeeze the tabs to disengage the extractor cartridge. The LabraFix system, a highly innovative and unique system designed for labral repair from ArthraCare.